Today I'm going to start restoration on this Marantz 2225 receiver. Just want to show what it looks like beforehand. We got some burned out lights in the panel. The faceplate's pretty dirty. The volume knob is extremely loose. The whole potentiometer is actually coming loose. The tuning knob is jammed and doesn't like to go any farther than that to the right. The inside has a lot of rust and corrosion. Looks like it was stored in a humid location for a long time. You can see some rust on the chassis there, and everything is covered with mud on the inside here. It looks like all the components are still original. So let's see what we can do. Getting ready to remove the output module here, and I have my wire unwrapping tool. I don't know if I can get very good focus up here, but I'll give it a shot. I love this tool. Yeah, there we go. Nice, neat, undamaging way to remove wire wraps. They stay nice and coiled and easy to put back on later with solder. I've now got the output module removed out of the Marantz 2225. Here's a better look at the few wires that need to be disconnected to remove the module. You have a large black, a large red, and a large white. Those are your power leads. There's a small brown wire, small orange wire, a small white wire with a red stripe. Those also go on the bottom edge of the board. And then up towards the top you got a small red wire, or orange, it's hard to tell. And then at the very top in the center is the audio signal cable. You can get a better shot of just how dirty this thing is. I think it got rained on at one point in time. And here's the output module. Looks like somebody's been in here at one point because one of the screws is missing from the corner of the module here that I didn't take out. And since there is a mark from a screw head, I know it hasn't been missing the whole time. Other than that, it's in good solid condition and it should be easy to get this module fixed up. Here's the output module, all recapped and put back together, ready for reinstallation. And the missing screw was laying on top of the preamp board inside the receiver. So that's since been recovered and reinstalled as well. All the screws were loose that held the circuit board onto the module. The faceplate is now removed from the receiver, and you can see the loose volume control here just needs the nut tightened up, and also the two halves of the shaft are squeezed together too far, which makes the knob slide off easily. We need to fix that and clean everything while this is off, and make sure all the screws are tight. Clean all the knobs that remain on the switches, and make sure this jack is in good condition. Also, another thing to watch for on Marantz receivers, underneath the tone control or preamp board there's insulating paper attached to the frame. Make sure all pieces of that are still intact and glued down. Made quite a bit of progress tonight. I've got the circuit boards clean now and almost all the caps replaced. I've still got to do the caps on the tuner module. I'm going to wait a little bit on that because it's going to be so hard to get this out and get to the bottom of the board with all these wires attached. And I want to test the receiver before I pull that out too. I've still got down here you can see these little blue things. Those are tantalum capacitors. There's 2 of them on the phono preamp and 4 of them on the Dolby FM board. I still got to change those out with multi-layer ceramics. I don't like tantalum caps in audio circuits because they have a tendency to make crackly noises when they get leaky with age. I've already changed out a few on the tuner board down here. And I've also got the dial face disassembled. Somebody had replaced the dial lamps with hotter burning aftermarket equivalents and melted the shroud a little bit. So I'm going to be putting some genuine OEM lamps back in. And also, while I've got the dial face apart, I've got to replace the diffuser paper on the back of the dial face. It turns brown with age and causes the dial to light up a nasty greenish brown instead of blue. So I'm going to put some fresh paper on there, as well as on the back of these meters. And after that, I'm going to reinstall the output module and do a little bit of testing, make sure everything's okay. And then I'm going to continue on, take these switch assemblies out, clean and lubricate those, and then I can start reassembling, and after it's reassembled, then move on to the adjustment and fine tuning. This board here is the preamp and tone control circuit. I've got it cleaned and recapped already. For coupling audio signals, I usually use Panasonic FC capacitors. I consider those kind of audiophile grade on a budget sort of deal. For most other circuits like power supply and noise filtering, I use Nichicon or United Chemicon. Chemicon, by the way, is typically original equipment in these receivers. You can see here, Nippon Chemicon. But yeah, Panasonic FC in the audio path. The rest of the circuitry, I try to stick with Japanese capacitors or US capacitors whenever possible. Okay, I got it powered back up and running, and the LED is installed for the FM stereo indicator. Wish I had a smaller resistor than that. Still got to recap the tuner board, and I think there's a typo in the manual regarding the bias voltage on the amp. I need to look into that. But I got to put the faceplate back together probably tomorrow. It's 4 o'clock in the morning now, and I'm extremely tired, so I'm going to continue on with this after I get some sleep. Here's a shot of the diffuser paper from the dial. You can see just how bad it gets discolored over time. The original piece is up on top there, and you can see the new fresh piece that I just cut out right below it there. It'll look much nicer. Now that the tuner board is recapped and back in place, that's all set. I think I'm done with the circuit boards now. Just a couple more tantalum caps to change out for safe measure. But now I'm working on replacing the diffuser paper on the meters. You can see in the chassis there's some double-sided tape that held the meters in place behind that plastic shroud that holds the light bulbs. And on each meter there's a piece of diffuser paper that's double-sided taped in place on the top and bottom of the meter. The hardest part of changing these is cutting that rounded cutout there, because I don't have an X-Acto knife. But I'm going to get this paper replaced and get these reinstalled. Alright, making good time on this project. I got all the diffuser paper replaced, the meters reinstalled, everything's a nice bright blue color now instead of a nasty brownish green. All I got to do is clean these buttons off, put the dial pointer back in, and I can put the faceplate back on. I'm probably about 85% done with this project now, so I'm getting there. Alright, it's finally starting to look like a receiver again. Faceplate's cleaned and reinstalled. Dial pointer is reinstalled with a new lamp, and the dial cord is restrung properly. It's not tangling up anymore. All I gotta do is double check some adjustments and make some finishing touches, and get the preamp output jacks installed, and I think I'm pretty much done with this project. Well, I have my first real setback. Drilling the holes for the preamp output jacks. Not only did I get one slightly crooked, but the drill got away from me. And where does it go? Went right into the side of the filter cap. A nice brand new, like $8 filter cap. So what do I got to do now? I got to put one of the old ones back in temporarily until the new one gets here. I was so close to being done, but you know, sometimes things like this happen.